It seems like you've infiltrated my BIOS and bypassed my encryption to reveal today's video. Man, if only I was sponsored by NordVPN, then I'd be secured from gonks and netrunners wanting to hack my BioWare. If only I was sponsored by anyone, really. Well, that doesn't matter. What does matter is that this tape will self-destruct in...
Insert video time.
So have fun, and let's start the video. 2020 has been quite a year for all of us, ranging from a deadly disease to possibly a second one that's called... I shit you not, to a possible alien sighting, to The Last of Us 2 winning Game of the Year over Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, I am still salty about that because that game did not deserve it. Safe to say that we live in the wrong timeline because of that. But for my 2020 can't possibly be any worse than this bingo card, I didn't expect to have Cyberpunk 2077 is just okay on there. But the more I do research on Cyberpunk, the more it makes sense as to why future me added it on there. But before we start with the nitty and the gritty of the video, let's first take a look at what Cyberpunk really is, and when it started. See, a lot of us knew Cyberpunk from the video games, of course, because, well, it's been plastered everywhere, but don't worry, we'll get to that. But most of us didn't know that Cyberpunk was a tabletop RPG. Or at least Cyberpunk 2077 was based off of a tabletop RPG. Well, minus 57 years off of it, I guess. Cyberpunk 2020 is a dystopian tabletop role-playing game written by Mike Pondsmith and published by R. Telsorian Games. It is typically referred to by its second or fourth edition names, Cyberpunk 2020 or Cyberpunk Red. This is so it distinguished itself from the genre after which it was named, which is the cyberpunk genre. See, Cyberpunk 2020 came out in 1988. This game is older than most of my audience. This game's fucking older than me. And 32 years later, CD Projekt Red decided to make an adaptation of said media. Now, this has worked in the past for them with the Witcher series. In fact, it was the only series they've done. I can't forget Saints Row 2, even though that was Volition, but we're not gonna talk about that. But with the Witcher series, this should have been a slam dunk for them because of how similar the game development should have been, theoretically. The Witcher had a budget of 81 million as opposed to Cyberpunk's 317 million. The Witcher 3 took almost 3.5 years to come out, whereas in Cyberpunk took almost 4 years. 8 if you count the first reveal trailer of the game back in 2012. So I really can't grasp my tiny little goopy goblin brain around how this game looks like it's a PS4 launch title when the PS5 exists and PS4 launch titles look way better than this. But we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. Let's get into Cyberpunk's start. Where was the game first revealed? Cyberpunk 2077 was first revealed at E3 2012 and had a nice cinematic trailer on January 10th on 2013. Very little was known about the game at the time, except that it was set in this universe of Cyberpunk 2020 by Mike Pondsmith. Also, by the way, none of the characters in this trailer end up or show up in fucking Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if I somehow never found this chick in the game, but I tried finding her and I found fucking nothing. But getting back to the development timeline, seems like official development of the game started after 2016, which left the team with 4 years to work on the project. It's more than enough time, seeing as though games like GTA 5 had 3 years of development, whereas in GTA 5 had 360 people working on it, while CD Projekt Red, or Cyberpunk 2077, had 500 people working on it. Which is just insane numbers, I know. So why does the game look and feel like...
Insert term that will not get people upset.
I mean, they pretty much had everything at hand. Money, time, a large team to focus on the game, and even Keanu fucking Reeves.
Dick.
This game was supposed to look like this, but ended up like this. Well, an easy answer for this is the hype surrounding the game. I say an easy answer out of the multitude of ones that I have, don't worry. The hype essentially caved in and the expectation was so fucking high that you could use it to climb Mount Everest. Aside from the hype and expectations, a more detailed answer of why the game failed was the, well, glitches in the game. They're not really glitches, but more features, in my opinion. They just, they give me so much joy whenever I see a fucking NPC T-posing.
Hi there. New to Night City?
All over, huh? Guess so.
But aside from glitches, I guess you could chalk it up to development hell, crunching the team, multiple delays, and possibly the fact that the whole game's plot was just reworked in a whole fucking year. Which is just insane. The game has seen its fair share of problems before and after launch, with a hotfix update once every 2 days at this point. Well, not really every 2 days, I'm just putting the exaggeration out there. And also a class action lawsuit that could be very bad for the company because they're representing themselves, which is never a good thing, never a good sign, but you know what? It's okay. Let me see, am I missing anything? Oh yeah, their stocks just plummet. But Cyberpunk 2077 sold well over 13 million copies on launch, and the company pretty much made their money back at the cost of essentially losing all of their street cred. See what I did there? Fucking street cred. Pretty much losing all of their street cred to the consumer and a lot of die-hard CDPR fans. But let's start with the obvious issue that the game faced. Development hell. Anonymous developers at CD Projekt Red were interviewed and 50-50 of them experienced mismanagement. In terms of mismanagement, there seems to be around a 50-50 split in opinions between the interviewed staffers, where most of the complaints are centered around middle management, poor communication, and even competition between various managers. This is a direct excerpt from Gamers Reactor's article. The Witcher 3 development kept getting worse by the month. The morale got very low and everyone ended up complaining during Crunch Supper. Some of us were still looking forward to being moved to Cyberpunk and having a fresh start with a new project. When we finally switched to Cyberpunk, things got even wilder, even more chaotic. At that time, almost everybody in my team wanted to leave. Yikes! But another developer praised CD Projekt Red, so like I said, it's a 50-50. The more I learn about the game's development, the more it makes sense as to why this game is the way it is. It's a game that's been in development for more than 4 years, so development hell was pretty much inevitable. But what about the gameplay? What's the game like? Well, in my opinion, the game is very messy and very, very buggy, but I like it? Doesn't make any sense, I know, but I'll explain. See, the glitches add to the experience and make me laugh out so fucking hard when I see Takamura sliding across the floor in a super serious moment, by the way. Or fuck it, an enemy being stuck in place, or a person T-posing in the middle of goddamn nowhere. These are all footages from my gameplay, by the way. It's happened to me multiple times. There has also been a glitch where, spoilers, when you get Beast from Claire and you open up her trunk in the back, you can glitch through the floor. You could just fall through the floor. I have recreated this glitch multiple times, and it happens every fucking time. I don't know if they've mentioned this in the hotfix, but you might want to fix that. Because once you do it, you're stuck there until you can reload your save. But is the game worth $60? Sorta. I mean, I have fun with the game, but PS4 and Xbox users didn't, because Nothing's fun at 12 frames per second, ladies and gentlemen. Aside from development help, the game also had misrepresentation against it, which is true because a lot of people expected Deus Ex and not Far Cry 3, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. Far Cry 3 is an amazingly good game, but just people expected more sci-fi, cyberpunk hacking, not shoot almost Call of Duty game, you know what I'm saying? And because of this, it landed them in hot water with a potential class action lawsuit, which again, I have to mention, they're representing themselves, which is never a good thing. But aside from expecting Deus Ex, a lot of people expected a list of things that was promised to us in the trailer. A Reddit post explains all of these good contents from the game. A lot of them are very interesting to read, so just go ahead and do that. But one of the main examples of this is a female V that you cannot recreate in the game that was used multiple times in the trailer, which blows my fucking mind, you know? Now, I know that they have updated the hair physics in the game where you can change your hair whenever you're in a mirror any fucking time. You can change to whatever the fuck you want, but that still doesn't fix it, right? Along with misrepresentation, I guess we could pair this up as well, where a lot of people were expecting for you to have a broad range of just customization, like just a huge range. But unfortunately, it's only limited to these grids, which kind of fucking sucks because I was expecting, you know, to make a crazy ass fucking character, but you can't because the menu don't look like they used to in the trailer, which I guess is typical. The menus look even worse in the final game than in the trailers. I don't know how that's possible. The game has also been hit with multiple delays in the fucking past, which hasn't helped the fate the people had in this game to begin with. Not like the delayed help, the game is still a raw dough that should have gone back into the oven. If it were up to me, the game should have been delayed for a year, but I mean, the team would have been 30 instead of 500, you know what I'm saying? Cyberpunk would have been in a much better state if you gave it a year or two. But by then, the damage would have been irreversible, right? Could you imagine if Cyberpunk was just delayed for a year? People would have gone insane. I mean, right now, the damage can be reversed to the game if you still work on it, but the game has such a rough launch on both PCs and console that I don't even think you could come back from this. Consoles being the worst because you pretty much aren't playing Cyberpunk 2077, but instead Cyber Slideshow 2077 because of the amount of frames I can count on the screen right the fuck now. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention that the games are most likely gone from the Xbox. Hopefully by the time of this recording, I don't know, I'm not a future teller, but it's gone from fucking PlayStation. They fucking Thanos'd it off the face of PlayStation. So if you have a copy of it, and you don't want to return it, then I guess that's a gold mine, I guess. I guess that's the PT of AAA gaming. It seems as though your saves can be corrupted if you get this loot too much. Now, I know they have fixed this in a hotfix, but even so, if you loot too much, it can still get corrupted. Like, I'm not joking. The previous limit was 8 megabytes, and now they've removed that, but you can still get corrupted saves. There's a detailed post as to why this happens on Reddit, but essentially if you pass 6 to 8 megabytes of the game, or even fucking more, I don't know, fucking 32, let's give it that, the game doesn't recognize the save and corrupts it. What? Oopsie poopsie, I made a fucky wucky. But Noble, I hear the words coming out of your beautiful fucking mouth. What do the developers have to say about this? Oh, don't loot too much. Well, this isn't really a developer, as it's more of a forum moderator, but just let me use this. Pretty much this advice, don't loot in a game like Cyberpunk. That's like asking people not to shoot enemies in COD. Cyberpunk 2077 is a mess of a game. There is no mistaking that. I'm not here to defend the game or to shit on it, but this game needs some serious time in the oven. It needs some serious time in the oven if it got delisted from PlayStation Store before Fallout 76 did. And that's 16 times the detail, goddammit. Now, it's time for the story of the game. The story sucks. I'm not kidding, the world is very cool and super interesting and super immersive, but the story for this game just seems and feels very rushed, which is understandable because the story was apparently written in a year or reworked in a year. Like 1 second you're playing as V and the other second you're playing as Johnny, with no idea who he is prior. Obviously, we know him because he's Keanu fucking Reeves, but to someone who doesn't follow the game like we do, they have no fucking idea who this character is. We only get one mention of him prior to meeting him, and that's in a fucking bar. And we don't even know what he looks like. Now, that's not to say that this game didn't have any cool side stories and stuff I did like. I fucking loved the Delamain missions. There was also a Portal / GLaDOS Easter egg, and I got a chuckle out of that. That fucking you put in fucking GLaDOS in your game, and you make a fucking Portal reference. You win my heart. But like I said, the story feels very rushed. Aside from that, you also have different life paths that you can pick, like Nomad, Street Kid, or Corpo. Honestly, it doesn't matter which one you pick, because after the first hour into the game, they all pretty much play the same. See, this was also another problem with the misrepresentation part I was talking about. A lot of people expected different routes depending on what you picked. But that was kind of too much, and I can understand that. They essentially wanted a game with 3 different games inside of it, you know what I'm saying? Like 3 different life paths. And that's a little bit too much. I mean, even in 4 fucking years. But that was advertised to us in the beginning when the game was first shown off, so I mean, yeah. CD Projekt Red kind of fucked up with this one, I'm not gonna lie. It didn't matter what you picked. The only thing it changed were the beginning and the end. That's all. Nothing in between, and that's what people thought would change. Now, what are my honest opinions on Cyberpunk 2077? The way I've played it. I've played Cyberpunk 2077 all the way from the start to beginning, and I've played it twice. Once as Street Kid and once at Corpo. Does it change anything? Does anything change? Not really. Not really. I guess the way you meet Jackie at the beginning of the game, but aside from that, it doesn't really change it. I felt like I was playing the same game. So, yeah. But that's going to be it for this video. Cyberpunk 2077 has been out for the world for about a month now, and I kind of wanted to let it simmer so I can make this video. And also, I want to give a big shout out to my friend Brendan for actually helping me with the beginning part of this video, with the whole graphics designs and everything. It was a huge help for bringing this video, but I wanted this game to fester a little bit, I guess. Just let it fester a little bit inside of that cooking pot. Cyberpunk 2077 is a very mediocre title comparatively in the genre that it's playing. I do hope CD Projekt Red works on the game and makes it feel like what they promised in the future. Hopefully they work on it and they don't just leave it aside. Please, CD Projekt Red. I actually really love Cyberpunk. Just don't do that. I'll be looking forward to what they have in store for the game's future. I do hope that they fix it and not leave it on the side of the road like some puppy, because it has so much potential. But if you want to play an actual good Cyberpunk game, see, I fucking segued into that, with an amazing story and good combat, please play Ghost Runner. It's an amazingly cool speedrunner type game with the same cyberpunk aesthetic that got snuffed because of Cyberpunk and its hype. Ghost Runner is a game that deserves the attention and your time. But yeah, that's it for me on this video. Please go play Ghost Runner. It's an amazingly good game, and I have fun playing it. I even played it on stream. Oh yeah, by the way, I stream like every Friday, so if you want to come by and join, you can do that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I'll see you chooms later. Bye! Ooh, that was fucking cool.
More precise.
Thanks, architect.
Very convenient, is it not?
Pretty convenient, not gonna lie. Is this you? It's probably me. Yay, we made it to the end.